We're gonna deal with we're gonna deal with finance because this is so important. This is so important because I feel that people have been submerged, but they need to emerge. I think I feel in my spirit that people have been submerged with financial challenges, life challenges. People have been laid off work. People had to retire early, unplanned, and I think people are feeling this anxiousness and not really knowing what to do with life. And I think that we're all, in some sense, in transition, thinking about when we retire in 6 years, when we retire in 3 years, when we retire in 5 years, what is it that we will do? Or if something happened to you unexpectedly, what is it that you would do? But God has already given us answers. I believe the Bible says given us all things that pertain to life and to godliness. And then there's a section of the scripture that talks about how the woman was in trouble, in debt, they were going to take her children, and then the prophet said, what's in your house? So I think everything that you need, you have. It's just understanding what to do with what you have. So today, we're going to become mainstream with what I call economic emergence. We're going to deal with our low self-esteem. We're going to deal with those things that seem to keep us from being what it is that we're supposed to be. I think that this is going to be extremely important. As I said to one young lady sitting here, the beautiful Whitney, I said, you're multi-licensed, which she is, and then she's multi-state licensed, which she is, and then she has a beautiful background of working in medical facilities, which she does, and then she also teaches in a school that ultimately you get a license when you apply to the state because you now have the training. So she's been a professor, she has been a manager, she's multi-licensed, she's multi-state licensed. So she has everything. And the question comes to, Whitney, do you pay yourself as such? And she says, no. And then the answer to that is, because she makes her money, she's working a regular job, she's making her money, she's a mom, but I think it is that we're just caught up in our daily duties. We're just caught up in our daily life, so sometimes we don't think, and somebody has to think for us, with us, and push us. And even if people get mad at the point of what your picture looks like, because it makes them think about what their picture does not look like, it doesn't matter. I think what matters is you understand yourself, and you're pushing yourself to where you want to go. Okay? So at this point, it is, another person is here, and I asked what their job was, and so Bishop says, I am a senior financial advisor. I'm a former mortgage loan officer. There's a few other things that he does, but then you also have a doctor. So I said, so do you paint yourself that way? The question, the comment came back, no, I don't paint myself that way. Then the question is, why don't you paint yourself that way? Again, I think just being caught up in the fact that, pastoring a church, being a church leader, being a husband, being a father, I think those things makes us become submerged, and so we have to emerge from the things that submerged us. Those things are going to be important. His wife is a management program analyst for the federal government in NASA, as a matter of fact, for the administrator. And so you're controlling 1.3 million in her budget. That's just in her budget in terms of running that particular office, dealing with contracts, procurement, those kind of things are going on. So asking the question again, you're the bishop's wife, we understand that. You're the doctor's wife, we understand that. But do you paint yourself that way? And her answer again was no. And so now you're sitting with a household that has the potential of taking in $2 or $3 million or more if they merge their superpowers together. So now it's about how do we emerge? How do we emerge? Because when you emerge, now you got to go to the point of evolving. You can emerge, but you can't emerge the same way. You can emerge financially, but then you got to evolve. Because if you don't evolve, you continue to do the same things, which takes you back to the same place. And so there's emerging, and then there's evolving. that has got to transpire and has got to take place. Shantae works for me every day, but she is basically the office manager for an integrative medicine center that is multi-state, Maryland, Virginia, and Florida, but it's also interdisciplinary in terms of each doctor has his own specialty, like nutrition and psychotherapy, psychology, psychiatry, in terms of exercise, and in terms of a lot of things. So do you paint yourself that way? She's been in charge of medical assistant herself, in charge of medical records for a large cardiovascular center in DC. Also, she has been cross-trained in other medical disciplines and managed things. So, Shantae, do you say that about yourself? And she said, no. I said, well, this is the problem, because what people are looking for is what it is that you have. On the other side of just being in church, you're a singer, but when you go to sing out, and people who call her to go sing out, she commands $300 or more just for singing, I think, that 1 hour or so. And so is it painted that way? And she said, no. So then it comes to the thing again, what do I want to look like, and what can I do, and what should I do? And am I really stuck? And the answer is no, I'm not stuck. I'm not stuck at all. The enemy wants me to feel like I'm stuck, but I'm really not stuck, right? It's just how I see life, my vision. Again, you're submerged. She's a wife, and she's a mother, and then you're serving at church, and then you've got you're a daughter. You got a whole lot of things going on. So someone has to tell you to emerge. But even when you emerge, you got to evolve. You got to evolve. So you got to emerge, and then you got to evolve. But the problem right now is I think we're all submerged. We're submerged. So here it is. This is what I want to get you to. Because if there's one area that has caused many Christians to incur tremendous stress and discomfort, it has been in the area of finances. Many sincere, well-meaning Christians or believers who excel in prayer and zeal for one of the things of God stagger and stumble when it comes to managing things on the earth. And it reminds me of dealing with artists who are talented in their area but exhibit poor business skills. Now, if they do not employ help to develop a greater ability to manage their business, then they live a meager existence and expire without leaving the financial impact upon their family that God has desired for them to have. The problem is that I think sometimes we're satisfied or comfortable living a meager life when God wants us to live an extraordinary life. And so we got to emerge, and we got to evolve, because you want to live the good life. The Bible says that God He wants us to live a good life, right? He gave us good things to what? Enjoy. So God wants us to live the good life, but we're not really living the good life because we're submerged. Okay, this kind of ignorance leaves us vulnerable to opportunists and ravenous wolves. So we end up not having anything because, again, we're ignorant of our power. So straight facts are simple. We cannot ignore the effects of economic empowerment. Tragically, brothers and sisters, many have thought that economic influence destroys spiritual purity. So people will spend more time in what they call in the spirit than they do understanding their economic influence. But that's a lie, because that's never what God told us to do. You can't separate finance from the kingdom. First you seek the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And would you prosper and be of health even as thy soul prospers. So really God wants us to, but we don't. So tragically, Satan has used this false piety to cripple the church impact on the world. So we've not always had the economic strength to affect the society in which we live. But consequently, brothers and sisters, many politicians and magistrates and officials have not taken us seriously. Now, they desire to keep us hidden behind stained glass windows, holding hymn books and whispering soft prayers, rather than being the strong kingdom that Jesus wants us to become. And so he said that we would take it by force, and though we suffer violence. Yet many have been placed in weak as it relates to receiving and maintaining the blessings that God has given us to control. Now, he has desired to transfer the wealth of the unjust to the hands of the just, so we can redirect that wealth towards the things of God. Now, beloved, here's the scripture, John 3:2. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospers. So it's a spiritual progression of events that Christians should prosper and be in good health, even as their soul prospers. No, the same God who causes us to prosper spiritually causes us to prosper physically and financially. And so the concept is as your soul, which literally means in portion. As your soul means in portion. It's not John's intent that we teach imbalance, but balance. And so these financial blessings are really investments in which God would have us to be clothed in. Now, they help us to insulate, and it insulates us from the cold crunch of desperate times. Our marriages would not be as strained through financial chaos if we would allow God to teach us his financial ways. Now, economic empowerment does for us in the natural what faith does in the spirit. Economic empowerment does for us in the natural what faith does in the spirit. It allows us to acquire and to control. When the Israelites left Egypt, they were not freed merely through leaving the land of their affliction. They were able to maintain that freedom and rebuild their own land with the wealth of the unjust. In fact, the tabernacle was built by the wealth that they acquired from the Egyptians. Now, what miracles would have never occurred, or what great men would have never been inspired if the children of Israel did not have the economic deliverance that was needed to build what God had designed them to build. It was amazing that when we say those scriptures, we never say that they built the tabernacle from the riches they got from Egypt. We never talk about the economic deliverance. What we talk about is the spiritual deliverance or the deliverance from bondage. We never talk about how God did not allow them to leave empty. And I believe that God is the same God yesterday, today, and forevermore, and he will not allow us to leave anything empty. Now, Genesis chapter 15, verse 13, verse number 14 says this, and he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve I will judge, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance. Now, I'm going to say this. We've been, as a black people, in bondage for 400 years. But the Lord says he's going to judge those who put us in bondage, and he says we're going to have substance. I think that we as a people of melanated skin are beginning to have wealth in numbers that has not been, in record numbers, that has not been in history before. And so the promise of the Lord is yes and amen. I still believe God for everything. I don't think that this text was written to other people. I think it was written to us. What makes it so relevant is that it's us. We have been in bondage for 400 years. The Lord did bring us out. And now it is our time. But you got to recognize that he's talking to you. Because I think when you read the scripture, you think he's only talking to Israel. But who is Israel? Israel is us. He's really talking to me, and he's really talking to you. Melanated people, you are Israel. Now, in the same sense, many ministries are being dwarfed, not for lack of vision, but for lack of finance. Because you can have a church that has great vision, but you don't have any money. And so many men and women of God are enslaved working for a Pharaoh that is abusing and demeaning them simply because they have not known the power to how to get wealth. You got a great church, but you have no wealth. And so then, therefore, the church is always suppressed because there is no wealth. And then it's hard for people to see victory when there's no wealth. It's very hard for people to see deliverance, believe it or not, when there's no wealth. I want you to understand that. So just shouting and falling on the floor and somebody putting a sheet on you does not mean that, you had such a move of God. Because when you get off that floor, well, how are you going to live? I don't want to shake and fall on the floor and get up and still be poor. I want to shake and fall on the floor and get up and get my money. I want the life that God says that I should have. And that, I don't really believe that we always have to fall on the floor, because the power of deliverance, a lot of times can happen and you never fall on the floor. The changing of your mind, the redirection of your heart is miraculous to me. Now, these precious hearts may be sincere believers or Christians, yet not realize all their potential. They may feel impotent to change circumstances and affect situations, primarily because they've never been liberated economically. Now, I want you to understand the statement I just said. You feel like, you have the power of God, you fall on the floor, you shout, you dance. You're precious in God's sight, yes. Yet you don't realize your potential. Your potential. Just as I said, you're sitting here with all these great titles and great jobs, but you don't realize your potential because you have been submerged by these things. And you dance and you shout and you praise the Lord, but you don't recognize your own potential because they may feel impotent to change circumstances. Maybe feel like you don't have what it takes to change the circumstances and affect situations. God, if I lose my job, what is going to happen to me? You're going to live better than you ever lived.
Yeah, that's right. Hallelujah.
You're not going to miss a beat. That's God. Primarily because they have not been liberated economically. If you walk in and feel like, if I lose my job, I don't know what I'm going to do, you've not been liberated. You need to be liberated economically as well as you feel that you've been liberated spiritually. If there was ever a time that Christians and believers needed to learn how to operate in this present world, it's right now. It is here in this present world that we need to take control of the direction of our own destiny and lead a great exodus from this blistering blight of oppression into the oasis of godly living. Now, what an inheritance that he's left for us. You've got to think about this. He has enriched us both spiritually and naturally. God has given us all things that pertain to what? Life and godliness. He has given us a chance to embark upon a real and meaningful voyage into the land of the supernatural. God literally desires to convey to his people the power to get wealth. I've given you power to what? To get wealth. God said, I've given you power to get wealth. Then why are you falling on the floor and you never get wealth? Why are you always dancing and you never get wealth? Why do y'all always go to these conferences and never get wealth? Why do y'all always stand in line and y'all would give these people $4,000 and $5,000 and then you come home to the home church and you broke? You never get wealth, and then you say the local church doesn't love you. You gave the $5,000 to them. You didn't give it to the local church. If I ask for it, you say you don't have it. But if they ask for it, you'll find you'll go to heaven and hell to get it, because why? You believe them. But in the local church, you're pro. I want you to think about this. And you're always chasing what? A move of God. A move of God. A move of God. The move of God is right in front of you. You got to get ready for the move of God. Now, this video is one of the first places I want to take you, because Brother Vic, you would say, I don't know how to find money. I want to do a business, but I don't know how to find money. I don't know how to find money. I don't know where to go to get money. Well, we're going to answer some things today. Let's look at this video. Watch this.
Business even with bad credit, saving shit. First is Fora Financial. With them, you will only need a minimum credit score of 500. Next, we got Biz2 Credit. And with them, you only need a minimum credit score of 575. Third on the list, we got Rapid Finance. With them, you will need a minimum FICO score of at least 550. Last but not least on the list, I got a company called Creditly. You only need to pre-qualify, and it's no impact to your credit score. 4 places to find your business.
Next video, put it on hold. Now, you're going to be able to get those things from that. But believe it or not, I have been able to get money, and it didn't impact, it had nothing to do with my credit. It did have to do with my deposits. So here's how it worked. Let's say your wife and you put a business account up, and you guys deposited money into that account, but then you paid payroll, which is yourself, right? Because you're the employees, and you pay yourself. There are companies who will give you money based on your deposits, and there are companies who give you money that's not based on your deposits, it's based on your credit. So you can have the credit and not the deposits and still be able to get the money. Or you can have the deposits and bad credit and get the money. Or there are companies like we just talked about that you can have minimal credit and still be able to get the money. So it's not that you can't get the money to start the business, it's just that you don't know where to look. So now you gotta find out where to look. Am I saying that right? All right. So my job is to kind of open your eyes a little bit and talk about ways of being able to get it. Bank of America, you could have a lot of y'all got good credit. You could have opened an account with Bank of America, you could have applied for a credit card, got the credit card, you open a business account, you get it, and then you'll be able to apply for money. So there's a few banks that will work with you, but again, it's not that you can't, I just think you don't know where to go. And sometimes we can feel so submerged with our problems, we don't even think about where to go. We just sit and say, I don't know where to go. Nobody's gonna help me. Okay, well, God loves you and he wants you to do better, right? But you got to put the work in now. Now you can't say, God doesn't love me, I don't have any direction, nobody cares. Somebody does care. That's why we're here, because somebody cares for you. So when the enemy starts talking to you again and says nobody cares, you got to tell the enemy he's a lie. Somebody does care. Can you receive it? You get to the point where you can receive it. All right, I want you to look at this. Let's look at this.
Funded without revenue, a business plan, or even uploading tax returns. And I'm about to show you how to do the exact same thing, step by step. Watch this. You got two ways you can get SBA funded, and most people, they only know one. First, you can go to sba.gov/microloans and enter your zip code and find your local SBA microlender. These intermediaries are nonprofits that
Pause
handle
that for me for a moment.
applications and approvals.
He said you can get microloans, right? We're gonna bring me back just a little bit. Is it possible? All right. She's gonna bring me back just a little bit. There you go. You can start from there, go ahead. That's good. Yeah, that's good. And then
I got SBA funded without revenue, a business plan, or even uploading tax
Yep.
returns. And I'm about to show you how to do the exact same thing, step by step. Watch this. You got two ways you can get SBA funded, and most people, they only know one. First, you can go to sba.gov/microloans.
Stop. SBA.gov/microloans. All right, let's move on.
Enter your zip code and find your local SBA microlender. These intermediaries are nonprofits that handle applications and approvals, but their funding limit is up to $50,000. The second option, if you want a higher microloan, which is the option I chose, is you do not apply directly with the SBA. You're going to go through a real SBA approved lender. I use Action Opportunity Fund.
AOFUND.org. Now, what would I do for this? I would single out the great doctor, the banker, and let him do all the wonderful research, right? And help you apply. Are you with me? Bishop is AOFUND.org. And then what you do is you let the people come to a group who want to do business, and we actually help you find funding. Is that better? We're gonna do extra work. You come in and we say these 5 things work. We know these 5 things work for you. And you can get it going. Are you there? All right. So again, you're not gonna say I can't. You're gonna put the work in. You're gonna do the homework. All right, let's go.
Go to their website or call them directly and ask for the SBA microloan or community advantage loan program. Once you take the get started button, they're going to ask you basic information like your business name, EIN, address, entity type, your loan amount request, use of funds like buying equipment or working capital. You won't need to upload any full PDF business plan or proposal. You just type in your answers here, no social security or tax returns at this stage, and then you submit your application. If approved, you'll get documents to e-sign within 7 to 10 business days, and then funding will be dispersed within 1 to 3 business days after the signing. Money will be deposited into your business bank account. Even if SBA says $50,000 max, these lenders combine SBA funds with flexible capital to push higher limits. Especially if you explain use of funds clearly, you show potential for community impact, impact.
Stop
You
for a
have a
moment. You
business
hear what he
bank
said
account
when
and
you
EIN.
explain clearly use for funds? It's not like you're not gonna do any paperwork. You're going to do paperwork. That's why I'm asking the good doctor to help you out with paperwork. Are you with me? So remember, it ain't gonna be easy breezy. I know this sound like it was just gonna be magic. It's not. You gotta put the paperwork in. Am I saying that right, Dr. McNeil? You gotta do paperwork. So don't say you're not gonna do paperwork, because you're gonna do paperwork, all right? You gotta do explanations. But he's used to filling out the paperwork, understanding what it takes, and it'll be worth the session. And he may charge you guys $50 to go into the session, but I think it'll be worth you $50 if you go into the session. Anyway, go ahead.
You don't need a perfect score or income to get funded, but the lenders don't advertise this. If my EIN got 75K, so can yours.
Okay.
Want my exact strips
Wanna
on how
go
to
to the
speak
next,
with these agents?
I'm gonna take you into the next one. I'm pushing you along. All right, let's go. Always pay attention to this. Oh, wow, okay. All right, he can bring it.
Or taking unnecessary risks. Here are 3 solid investments.
All right,
If
here
you
we
want
go.
to build generational wealth without the hassle of picking stocks or taking unnecessary risks, here are 3 solid investments that are efficient, proven, and designed to grow your portfolio without any struggle. First on the list is VOO, which tracks the S&P 500. Think of it as owning a piece of America's top companies without doing any of the guesswork. It offers instant diversification, has super low fees, and has outperformed
Pause for a
many
minute.
active managers over the last 10 years.
All right, now we're talking about growing money. We're talking about where to put money to grow money. Now, you don't need a lot of money. You do $50 and $100 every 2 weeks or a week. Now, I invest in S&P 500, ETFs, and things of that nature. And so that's what I was talking about when it was time to pull money. Instead of taking 7 days to pull the money out, that's where I was gonna pull it out, for my investment account. So I'm doing this. So I know it works because I'm doing it, right? So now you gotta know how to make money. Let's say you're in between jobs and you need to be able to make money, right? Well, you wouldn't just stay home and say, I can't find a job. You would take $50 that you would go do something with, right? Maybe you and Honey Bunny need to eat some soup that week because you need to do something different. All right, so you partner up and you open the account and you start investing. That's how you do it. So you start having money, right? You start having money and you start flipping money, and then the more you put in, the more it is that you're going to make. Are you with me? All right, so let's go.
It holds a company that does not perform up to standard. It is replaced to maintain progress. Next, we have QQQ. This one leans heavily on technology, featuring big names like Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Amazon. It's a bit more volatile, but that's where a lot of the growth has come from over the last 20 years. Now, QQQ has delivered nearly 19% annual returns, significantly higher than most portfolios. Finally, if you're looking for dividend income, SCHD is a great choice. It focuses on high-quality dividend stocks with strong fundamentals. It has delivered almost 12% annual returns over the past decade. Now, these investments give you both growth and income in one package.
Jose, growth and income. Now, Vic, you gotta find a woman who can help you. Well, of course, you're married, so you already got that.
I know.
You don't need to find another one. You have somebody already. I didn't want to insult you, so my apologies, sir. The problem with a lot of us is that,
Rich people make money.
hold that for me.
Yeah.
The problem with a lot of us is that we don't have people who believe in us. So let's say you got a beautiful Shantae and she was raising the boys and not paying daycare. Daycare is horrendous, especially if you got 2 children, right? And so you say, I'm gonna stay home, my husband's gonna work, and we're gonna live off one income. Actually, that's what God wants us to do anyways, live off of one income. And so I'm gonna raise the boys with this, but then she says, you know what? I'm gonna contribute, I'm gonna build wealth. And so she takes the $50 and the $25 and the $100 and she sticks it in these accounts, and then here she is, and she's like, well, baby, don't pay the rent or the mortgage this month or for the next 2 months. I'm gonna do it. I want you to invest the money somewhere else, right? I'm gonna take the pressure off you for a couple of months. You're gonna do something else and do it differently. we can afford a second car because I've got money, right? We can afford a second car because I've got money. And so now you don't have to worry about things. Or let's say they've been married for 25 years. All right, I'm gonna show you one thing where if you did something and you had done it consistently for 25 years, after that you'd have had 1.2 million in the bank. I'm gonna show you that. All right, the problem is we've been so submerged and over the last 25 years that we did nothing. You understand it? And we did absolutely nothing. But you're not gonna live that way anymore. All right, so we're gonna introduce you into how rich people make money with debt. How do you make money with debt? Now, I'm gonna say this again, Michelle, you gotta either have yourself or a partner who understands you, that's not nagging you all day long and getting on your nerves and give you opportunity to stretch, right? Because when you understand the system and you work in the system, you're making the money. You're making the money. So you gotta learn how to speak positive in your house, positive to yourself, and then come to trainings like this so you can get the information. Are you with me? All right, so some people are not married. I'm not married. Veronica, you ain't married, so you gotta believe in yourself. You gotta stand in the mirror, Veronica, and talk to yourself and say, I'm gonna take my $50 and I'm gonna open an account. And again, I'm gonna show you, Veronica, what account to do, and then Dr. McNair takes over. What he's gonna do is each of you are gonna have your iPad or your Chromebook or whatever it is, and then when he walks you through about how to open the various accounts and all the kind of things, you'll be able to do it without a problem. So don't worry about it today, okay? I don't want you to feel nervous like, oh, somebody needs to help me. No, he's gonna help you be able to do it. So I'm gonna let the banker do the banking. How about that? You know, I don't wanna take his job. Praise the name of our God. Let the banker do the banking. All right, so you got debt. Let's talk about making money when you got debt. All right, let's go.
That wealthy people have the most amount of debt. In some cases, a wealthy person will have millions, if not billions of dollars of debt and still be a billionaire. Well, in this episode, I'm going to share with you all of the ways that you can actually use debt to make money just like the rich do. Let's go.
Noel. Yeah, she can fix that. You gotta get it done, no, you need to do it better. Well, she can fix that. Yeah, she can fix that. Investment to get back, trying to get a big stack. She can fix that. Let's fix that.
Wealthy people have the most amount of debt, literally millions, if not billions of dollars in debt, because in many cases, the debt that they use, they create in order to make money. They actually will use debt to get income-producing assets. So, in other words, if you want to be wealthy, if you want to be rich, you are going to have to take a smaller amount of money.
So you think you know Wix? Do you really? First up, we've got Shake Video Masks. You can use.
There you go.
And trade it for a larger amount of money. But the key is, it does not have to be your money. You are not going to save your way to rich. You are not going to work your way to rich. You actually will trade money for a larger amount. A small amount for a large amount. You get it. All right, so let's get into the 5 ways right now. Before we get started, if you want me to teach you in an entire class, go to noelsfreeclass.com. Right now, I'm always teaching a free class. It's over an hour long, and I can get into detail, and in many cases, it is interactive where you can ask me questions. Number 1, real estate investments using traditional mortgages. Yes, most people will say that a traditional mortgage will not make you rich, and that is absolutely correct. But it is a great way to get an asset and use borrowed money in order to get it. However, just living in the house is not going to make you rich. Most cases, the property will go up in value, and each month when you are paying the mortgage down, you will be getting more equity. So you are getting the combination of appreciation and you are getting more equity every single month. However, you're not actually getting any cash flow. So in many cases, what people will do is that first house that you get, you can buy as a primary residence, and yes, you will live in it. You will put down maybe even a small down payment, like 3% or 5%. You may even use like an FHA loan, which is a government-backed loan, which allows a first-time home buyer to get a home with just 3.5% down. It is what I used to get my first primary residence, and that is what most people will do. But here is the key. You will then turn that property into a rental property. At some point, you have to start getting investments where someone else is paying that mortgage for you and the property is still going up in value over time so that you can truly start building wealth through that equity. And then you can even tap into that equity and get even more rental properties. This is an amazing way to start making money using debt. Now, again, traditional mortgages are an
Get ready for another
amazing thing to
one.
use. Like I said,
Pause that.
if you are a veteran,
All right, did you hear? A lot of people just want to, their first home becomes just their dream home. Right? That's not what you do. You take the first home that you have and you use that as a seed. You rent that out, you take the money even from that, you buy
Have you
another
ever
home.
wondered why
Hold on,
some
hold on.
people...
You buy another house, right? But you've got the equity in that house, and you got somebody else paying the rent. So if you bought a house for $200,000, now the house is worth $500,000, you made $300,000, right? So your first house is the seed. Then you're gonna buy the second house. And then you're gonna do it again, you're gonna do it again, you're gonna do it again. And then you've been married, let's say 10 years, 13 years, 8 years, 5 years. So in the 5-year period, because you do this on a year basis, right? On a year basis or 2-year basis. First one is a year basis. Then you can do a year and a half or whatever it is that you wanna do. Anyway, now you got 13 properties. You're sitting on $2 million worth of equity. You never have to worry about paying your house note again because you got enough money coming in. So you don't have to work if you don't want to work, right? So now you're this power couple. Are you getting it? I didn't give you the rest of it that she's gonna talk about. Now you turn debt into cash. All right, and then go into the other part that she's gonna go into because because of time, Dr. Nuko, I didn't want to do it. But Dr. McNair is gonna go into the other ones because I'm gonna make sure he has the video and he can talk to you about it. Yes, ma'am.
So the first house you purchase, you pull money out and you move into the next property, so you rent the first one.
Yeah.
So do you do that every time? So the second home you get, do you rent that out and get another one?
Yeah.
Or if that's your forever home?
Nope.
You can just.
Now you can get a forever home, like your third home could be your forever
Oh,
home.
okay.
But you now have enough money in your first two
Okay.
to buy
Other-
other properties.
Okay.
Am I saying it right, Dr. McNair? All right. So you can have a forever home, but it may be your third home. All right. But remember, this is the third home that you built and has everything you want. All right. So the problem is we get stuck and submerged because we struggle so hard to buy the first one. We just sit down. Are you with me? And then if you got a partner who don't understand, and all they got is they'll question you to death, and you'll never get anything done because they'll frustrate you. And you never get anything done. You also gotta work with people who can work with you. You can find somebody to work with you. Notice what I just said. They don't question you to death, and they give you the opportunity to guide them. You got a cantankerous partner, you in trouble. Or they'll hold up the process. Hold on, because I'm scared. You may have an issue. Is that true? All right, good. All right. Now, I'm going to move you on because we're going to talk about how to escape poverty and become rich in 6 months with multiple income streams. Now, from here, I'm just going to show you making money because you want right now money, right, Vic? You want right now money. Now, if you never bought a home, that last video is for you because it shows you what to do. You didn't buy it to live in. You bought it because you wanted to make some money off of it. So even while you're renting, you will buy a home. You rent that one out, and then you turn around in a year and you do it again. But you also put it in a trust and never in your personal name.
So the 1 year is the goal? Just
1 year
buy
is the goal.
property, do it for a year.
You do it for a year and you go buy a new one. Because now you qualify for first-time home buyer again.
After a year.
Yeah. He said yes. Dr. McNair said yes. I also talked to the realtor. I talked it out with the realtor. Now you can also buy a home, Dr. Nuko, that you don't want. You never put no money down. You found a buyer. They bought it from you, but now you got $20,000 out of the deal. It was a paper transaction. That's a whole nother story. But I'm sure Dr. McNair takes, that class will take you to the next level of all those things it is that you want to do. You get $40,000 out of the deal, Vic. $40,000 off the deal. So now you did it 3 times, right? Now you walk around all this money in your pocket and you stop worrying about how you're going to be successful and be a man. You get it? But you gotta sit down, you gotta get it in your heart, get it in your mind, get it in your spirit, and you gotta make yourself excited. You gotta give yourself permission to prosper. Are you with me? I'm gonna give myself what? Permission to prosper. The devil is a lie. Give myself permission to prosper. Shantae and I will come back with our Rolls Royces and tell y'all the story. Because I'm gonna take my daughter with me. Listen to me real good. When you suffered, the Bible said after you suffered a while. Oh my God. He established and settled you. Strengthened. Are you with me? We've gone through enough. Now the Lord is giving us, I believe in 2026 we're gonna have everything we need. I think in 2025 we're at the entry, at the doorway, and you're gonna start seeing trickles of money coming in. In 2026 you'll be mainstream having money. And it's gonna be worth everything.
I have a question from Pastor Kim Moore.
Yeah.
First time home buyer in the same state or on your second home purchase?
Any state.
Okay.
Any state, Pastor Moore. Pastor Moore, any state. And we'll really get into that in our next session when I really get into it. Because I don't believe in this, like, we're having a home in Florida right now. We're doing a home in Florida right now. And we're, figuring things out. And I wanted to take my team to Florida because I want us to really understand what we're doing. So you can do it. Because you can buy a house in Nebraska and Wisconsin and all other things. I just want people to prosper. I just want people to prosper. I just want you to prosper. All right, let's go. Let's look at this.
Get rich quickly while others spend their entire lives struggling financially. The truth is that the secret to escaping poverty is not just about making money, but rather about how you manage and multiply your income sources. Many people believe that the only way to escape poverty is by earning a higher salary, but that is a mistake. If you don't know how to make money work for you, you will remain stuck in the same cycle of financial difficulties. And that's exactly what I want to teach you today, how to build multiple sources of income to achieve financial independence in just 6 months. Let's get straight to the point. If you want to change your life, you need to adopt the mindset of wealthy people. Money is not earned, it is created. Those who truly prosper do not rely on just one source of income. On the contrary, millionaires and billionaires always have multiple ways of making money at the same time. The first step to getting rich, changing your mindset. What separates rich people from poor
Pause for a
people
moment.
is not just the amount of...
What did he say? And rich people have multiple streams of money at one time. Y'all know how y'all talk about me and say, you do too much. Well, to me, you do nothing. If you're gonna become wealthy, you gotta think like a wealthy, and you gotta have multiple streams of income. And you gotta take opportunity again to give yourself permission to get money, and not just simply sit and work one job. That's why some of y'all are scared to retire, because you only work what? One job. You don't know no one. You're so scared to lose that job. You're so scared of things happening. You don't know what to do. I don't want to live that way. I don't think God called us to live that way. And while you're working that one job, you still need 3 or 4 more streams of income coming in. Do you receive it? All right. So I want you to change that mind. I want Shantae to go down to Largo and get that space that I need. And then we're gonna turn this space into the group. Right? So one day I'm in Largo, I just see individuals and families, but then 2 things. I'm either going to do counseling or I'm going to do mediation, family mediation. Mediation over assets, mediation over family problems, mediation to be divorced, mediation to stay married. Thank God for Jesus. All the training, right? And you get up here, you do all this, and then I'm at the salon because I have things to do in the salon and in the wellness center. So days I'm in Clinton, days I'm in Largo, days I'm in where? This is Highsville. And then Virginia, but that's only 2 weeks out of the month, because 2 weeks out of the month I'm out of town because I'm working in my offices in homes out of town. Are you understanding? All right. What's your goal? What's your vision? How do you see yourself? Can you hear me? How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself stagnated, or do you see yourself making money? Go ahead.
But how they think and make financial decisions. If you continue believing that the only way to make money is by exchanging time for a salary, you will hardly move forward. Financially successful people see money differently. To them, money is a tool that can be used to generate even more money. This means that instead of just working for a salary, they invest, create businesses, and build assets that generate passive income. But what does this mean in practice? It means that if you truly want to change your financial life, you need to stop thinking like a salaried worker and start thinking like an entrepreneur and investor. The three types of people when it comes to money. If we analyze people's behavior regarding money, we can divide them into three main categories. One,
the leads are broke. You just don't understand. They don't have the money. They have fear. They just want to do it later. Look,
those who work for money. These people trade time for money. They work traditional jobs and depend on their salary to survive. If they lose their job, they have no income. Two, those who make money work for them. These people understand that money can be multiplied. They invest, build businesses, and seek sources of passive income. Even while sleeping, they continue making money. Three, those who waste money and live in debt. These people spend more than they earn, accumulate debt, and never manage to get out of financial trouble. They live for appearances, buying things they cannot afford to impress people who don't even care about them. If you really want to escape poverty and become rich, you need to transition from group 1 to group 2. This means learning to create multiple income streams and making your money work for you.
Pause.
The secret of millionaire.
Let's get ready to go to the next video. Did you get anything out of this one?
Yeah.
Did you get a lot out of this one? Yeah. You should have got a lot out of this one. Your mind should change. Remember, money is created. I give you power to get wealth or to obtain wealth, which means to create wealth, right? Which means to create wealth. How I made $17,000 per week from stocks. All right. There are about 3 videos I want to show you on stock.
He's one of the hardest working people I know, and as a kid.
It's okay. Take me to the next one. Go ahead.
You want to see Investors for Beginners?
I can say Investors for Beginners. What was that? Go ahead, let me see it for a minute. Let me see. Yes.
Between 3 to 12 months worth of expenses. Now, the amount of money you actually put aside is going to depend. So when something bad happens, you don't got to go into credit card debt to fund that expense. And you want to have somewhere between 3.
I want you to pay attention to this real quick. Pause
you
for a
can either
second.
use your paycheck to build your.
I want you to pay attention to this. I only got 2 more to show you, but I want you to pay attention to this. This is going to be very enlightening. I want you to pay attention to it. Read. Go ahead.
Wealth or to just pay your bills. And most Americans are doing it wrong. I'll show you. This is how the majority of Americans statistically manage their finances. Let's assume that you make, as a household, $60,000 a year, which is $5,000 a month. Now, who's the first person that you're going to pay? It's not Chipotle and it's not Amazon. It's the government. Because if you're working a job, they want to make sure they get paid first through taxes, and these taxes are often taken right out of your paycheck before you even see the money. So after taxes, you're probably going to be left with around $4,000 a month. Now let's go through your expenses. You find a nice basic apartment, nothing crazy, for $1,500 a month on rent. Then let's call it another $500 a month on all of your utilities. That's your gas, your electricity, your water, your internet, and your renter's insurance. Another $550 a month on your car payment, plus your gas, plus your car insurance, plus the oil changes and all the maintenance. Another $500 a month on all of your debt payments, because the average person has a decent amount of debt, which could be your credit card debt, your student loans, and every other debt that you have. Another $500 a month on food, because you gotta eat and eggs are expensive. This is all of your groceries, and you're eating out at restaurant costs a month. And then an additional $525 on everything else. This is you buying your clothes. This is you buying your furniture. This is you buying gifts for your friends or your family. This is you going on vacation. This is you going to the movies. Everything else that you have, I'm just lumping it here with an additional $525 a month. Now, let's do the math.
Pause
You
it.
make $5,000 a month after taxes.
Does that look familiar? Does that look familiar to y'all? I know some of y'all make way more than that, and most of y'all in here make way more than that. You're six-figure people, but six-figure people can also live like they make only $60,000. Does this look familiar to all of you? All right. I want you to look at what needs to happen. I want you to pay attention. So wake your mind up right now. I want you to pay attention. Go ahead.
Need $4,000 a month, and then you have a total of $4,025 a month in expenses, which means you are left with a negative $25 a month balance. And that means you have no money in case your car breaks down. You have no money to pay for your health insurance, because I'm assuming that all of your health insurance is paid for by your employer and you have to pay nothing out of pocket for your health coverage. I'm assuming that you never go to the gym. I'm assuming that you're never going to put money aside to get married. I'm assuming that you're never going to put money aside as a down payment for a house. And I'm assuming that you're putting no money aside to invest, to build your wealth.
Imagine being able to build an app with your
Does that look familiar?
just by thinking about it.
That's most people's life, right? All right, look at
You can
this.
start to see the problem. Now, here's the real catch that most people don't learn until it's too late. It's not your income that will determine if you become wealthy or not. It's what you do with your income. And that's why in this video, I'm gonna go over the 5 things that you need to do in this order to not end up like this, so you can build your wealth, but also build your wealth faster. The first step is you gotta systemize your money. The first mistake that so many people make in this situation, from my male followers, I drew a mustache, which in my native language, Punjabi, is called a butch. For my female followers, I drew a braid, which in my native language, Punjabi, is called a gut. The problem that so many people have is you make money and then you spend the money. You have no system for your money, but that ends today. Because I want you to create 3 different buckets for your money, or in a practical setting, I want you to create 3 different bank accounts. This way, anytime you get paid, your money is going to be divided into 3 different places. Number 1 is going to be your spending money. Number 2 is going to be your investing money. And number 3 is going to be your saving money. And the reason why you want to put this in 3 different bank accounts is so you do not accidentally spend your investment money, or you don't accidentally spend your savings money. It's kind of like why the government takes your taxes before you actually see the money. The reason why is because the government knows that if you were supposed to pay the government at the end of the year, you would have probably already spent the money and the government's not going to get paid. Because for the average American, you're going to spend whatever amount of money you have in your bank account. And so the government does not rely on you to be smart with their money and to budget for your taxes. So they want to take that money before you even see it. So you kind of want to do the same thing. You want to allocate your money aside for your investments and your savings before you even see it. Put it in a different bank account. That way now you have money to invest, which is going to make you wealthy. You have money to save, which is going to protect you against an emergency. Now you might be saying, well, Jaspreet, how much money do you do in each? Well, a simple rule of thumb that you can follow is a 75-15-10 plan, which says for every dollar that you earn from here on out, 75 cents is the maximum that you can spend, 15 cents is the minimum you invest, 10 cents is the minimum that you save. And you might say, well, Jaspreet, that sounds pretty hard. You expect me to live off of 3/4 of every dollar that I earn? I'm already struggling as it is right now. How am I supposed to live?
10%. Yeah, if the church teaches you how not to touch 10%, it's easy for you to start saving money, isn't it? Same concept. I believe the problem is you never learn the principle of tithing, and so you never learn the principles of having. Are you with me? You never learn the principles of giving. You never learn the principles of investing. Are you there? All right. Now, we're going to show you this, and then I'm going to take one more video and kind of show you where to put money to make money, right? But I want you to get this, because this is gonna be so important, because now you gotta change your mindset about how you deal with money. All right, you gotta change how you work your money. You made money, and then you come in here and you say, I don't have no money. That's because you're not working the money the way you should. All right, so let's look at it again. Pay attention to it.
Much less. Well, I want you to think of it this way. The government, if they were to raise your taxes tomorrow, what are you gonna do? You're gonna complain and cry and scream, and then you're gonna find a way, because if you don't, you're gonna go to jail. Treat it the same way. I want you to tax yourself. Now, not so you make the government rich, but so you make yourself rich. You're taxing yourself by automating your money to go into different bank accounts. Now, here's the thing. You have to have 3 different bank accounts. That way you don't accidentally spend this money and this money, and you want this to be automated. Most banks are gonna allow you to create these automatic transfers. If you know how much money you're making every single month, banks will allow you to create an automatic transfer from one bank account to the other. If they're charging you money to do this, get a new bank. Now here's something you want to know, especially when it comes to your savings. You want to have a separate bank account just for emergency savings. Emergency savings is there to protect you in case you lose your job. It's there to protect you in case your car breaks down. It's there to protect you in case your kid gets sick or something bad happens. This is there as protection, so when something bad happens, you don't got to go into credit card debt to fund that expense. And you want to have somewhere between 3 to 12 months worth of expenses. Now, the amount of money you actually put aside is going to depend on where you are in your financial journey. We recently hired somebody in my Briefs Media team who was young, in his 20s, and he was asking me, why do I need such a high amount of savings? He doesn't have a wife, he doesn't have any kids, doesn't have a lot of financial responsibilities, asking, why can't I just take this money and invest it? And you're right. If you're younger, you don't need a year's worth of expenses put aside because you don't have the same financial responsibilities as somebody in their mid-40s who has kids, who's maybe taking care of their parents, who's got a lot more financial responsibilities, and maybe can't take on a whole lot of risk right now. When you're younger, you can be a little more aggressive, don't need as much savings. So figure out where you are on your journey in life. Figure out what your risk tolerance is, and see if you need 3 to 12 months worth of expenses. Figure that out, and then save that money and put it aside and don't touch it. Yeah, it'll lose value to inflation, but it's there to protect you against an emergency. It's not there to make you rich. I'm going to be talking about how you invest your money a little bit later in this video, but just know that if you are an investor, my team at Briefs Media also publishes a free daily newsletter called Market Briefs, where we break down what's happening in the economy, the stock market, the housing market, the crypto market, and the global economy into a fun and witty and easy to...
All right, did you get anything out of this one? Good, when you move to the next one, I need one where we're just gonna do investing. And then I'll let you go. Let me see what that is. Let's go with it.
You're not gonna believe what happened. Tell me everything. I'll show you on Monday.com. So I started the biggest initiative.
All right, I want to move you into investing.
Every day, prices go up while paychecks stay the same. Groceries cost more, gas prices keep rising, and saving money feels harder than ever. But here's something most people don't realize. You don't need a lot of money to start growing your money. In fact, with just $50 a week, that's $7 a day, you can invest in 3 dividend stocks that quietly build wealth in the background. In this video, I'll show you and John 3 dividend stocks that will surpass your full-time job, and how these stocks pay you regularly. I'll show you stocks that pay over $5,000 and $7,000 in monthly dividend income. And in the end, I'll show you a stock that has the potential to reach an over $2 million valuation and pay over $9,000 in monthly dividend income. So my goal in this video is simple: help you and John build a reliable, stress-free source of passive income. Not just an extra couple of bucks, but enough to surpass your full-time job. For some, that might mean covering the basics, $5,000 per month to handle rent, groceries, and bills, so you're no longer dependent on a paycheck. For others, it's about hitting $7,000 to $10,000 per month, where you can travel, invest in bigger opportunities, or just enjoy life on your own terms. The best part? You don't need to be rich to start. The right dividend stocks can build wealth for you in the background, no matter your starting point. Up next, I'll show you my 3 favorite dividend stocks to surpass a full-time job. ranked from $5,000 in monthly dividend income all the way up to $9,000 per month in dividends. And to kick things off, let's talk about a stock that turns real estate into steady long-term income. At number 3, we have NetEase with the ticker symbol NTES. While it might not be the first name that comes to mind when talking about dividend growth, this tech giant is becoming a powerhouse for investors focused on capital appreciation and passive income. NetEase is known for its diverse portfolio of successful online games, including Fantasy Westward Journey and Identity V, as well as its partnerships with international gaming companies like Blizzard Entertainment. The strong presence in gaming has pushed the company's revenue and net income growth. Over the past 5 years, NetEase has experienced an average annual revenue growth of 15.66%, with even higher figures in some individual years. On the dividend front, NetEase offers a forward dividend yield of 2.36%, which is a compelling factor for dividend-seeking investors. Over the past 3 years, the company has managed to increase its dividend by 43.64%. Despite its relatively low payout ratio of just 7.22%, the company's commitment to dividend growth signals its financial stability and promising future for shareholders. Looking at its stock performance, the stock has shown a strong growth trajectory with a 5-year return of 68.35% and a 10-year return of 424.37%. This long-term upward trend shows the company's potential for future growth, especially as China's online entertainment market continues to expand. As for the projection, it has a dividend yield of 2.36%, backed by a strong average 10-year dividend growth rate of 17.29%. And to top it off, it also has an average 10-year share price appreciation of 16.02%. So based on these metrics, let's say John invests $50 a week into this stock. Now here's how it looks. After 1 year, the investment would accumulate to around $2,600. In just 5 years, this investment would grow to $18,774. Keep this up for 10 years, and the total portfolio will be valued at $62,882. After 20 years, this investment would reach $417,729. And if John stays invested for 30 years, the total portfolio value would soar to $2,491,853, with yearly dividend income of $70,931. That's about $5,000.
Now, if we had invested in this stock 20 years ago, you had $417,000. If you did it 30 years ago, or we stayed in it for 30 years, you got $2,491,000. Now, these are real numbers. Now, that's just one stock. Are you getting me? Are you getting me? Now, that's just one stock. Let's say your goal would have been to retire with $10 million. Now, it's possible, because I don't think the Lord's going to let you die in another 20 years. I think y'all will still be around. But we're going to show you other stocks that if you were in for 20 years, you still got $1 million. We're going to show you other stocks that if you're in for 20 years, you still got $1 million. And then I want to show you other stock where you have monthly money coming in at 10 grand or more a month coming in. I'm not going to show you that today, but I'm going to show you that we have 10 grand or more coming in a month every month. But this is the thing. You only started off with $50 every week. So you don't need a lot of money to start investing. You just need to invest. Are you getting me? All right. The reason why I put a pause on that is only because of time. Remember, there are 3 dividend stocks that will surpass your full-time job. 3 dividend stocks that's going to surpass your full-time job, which will give you the money that you want. Let's go to the one I really want, because I'm out of time. Dr. McNeil, any thoughts? Good information? No. want to show you something real quick. And this is going to make sense. Anybody has any questions so far what I just said? Do you have any thoughts about what I'm saying? Yes, ma'am.
What are the other two? Or do we have time? You have.
I'm going to give you some other stocks real quick because I think you need, but I can give you the other two stocks, yes, and the ticker number so you can actually go and purchase those stocks. But what I was trying to do was save a portion for Dr. McNair so that when he walks you through like opening the account, how to actually purchase stocks, that he has something for you to work with, and then working on the numbers. All right. I wanted to make sure that you had something else to work with. I didn't want to take all the joy from him. I wanted to let him have some joy. I'm just passing the ball to him. All right, I'm going to quit with this one because I took some time up with you. How do you get your $100,000 so fast that it feels illegal? There are two videos actually from this guy that I want you to get because he's made money. He was a school teacher, and he ended up making $2 million off of what he did. All right, here we go. Ready?
So how do you get to your first $100,000 so fast that it feels illegal? Let's find out. My name's Steve. I'm a millionaire former public school teacher, and these are the money lessons I wish I taught my students. 1, immediately start budgeting with any of these apps here or whatever you're comfortable with. Or you can use my free budgeting sheet here that I personally use. 2, become a level 2 budgeter and save at least 10 to 20% of your paycheck. This free calculator shows you how much to save. 3, open a high yield savings account that gives you at least 3.5% interest. Here's a list of my favorite ones and the one that I personally use. 4, pay off your credit cards and follow these 3 steps. Steps 1 and 2 are the most important. I use this card for groceries, this card for traveling, and I've used this card ever since I was in college. 5, open a Roth IRA by following these 4 exact steps. Comment sheets and I'll send you this financial freedom checklist if you're interested. 6, read these money books. I like The Simple Path to Wealth and The Psychology of Money. As you complete each step, check it off to keep yourself accountable. And if this video helped in any way, like and follow so we...
All right, questions? Dr. McNair is going to go into the details of this because he told you what credit cards to use, right? He told you how to do the budgeting, and he's going to tell you how to start moving that money so that you have it, okay? Because I think we're using the wrong credit cards for the wrong things. I think that we don't have a true budget plan. Are you there? You don't have a true budget plan, so you need one. And I think we need to take time and learn this. It's not something you'll learn overnight. But I'm going to give you some stocks right now as I close out for the day. Hopefully I moved your mind to be different. Now, there are things that I'm practicing right now as it relates to sending money. As I said before, Shantae makes sure Amy's comes every Tuesday, Monday? Every Monday, but we're gonna have another meeting because I gotta shift some things around because I need that $2 million. How many of y'all need it? All right, so I'm shifting some things around, but they goes to the bank every Monday. How many of y'all go to the bank every week beyond just withdrawing your money, but you put your money in an account? Nobody? Okay, we're gonna stop that. You do it online? You're moving your money around online? You're investing your money online? Who's doing that? Let me see. You're investing. Who's investing? Let me see hand. Who's investing? Michelle, you investing? I ain't talking about that little thing y'all got on y'all little job. Oh, well, then y'all ain't investing nothing then. You ain't talking about that, Michelle? So you're investing money. Go ahead, girl. All right. I'm ready. Oh, she gonna really help her husband in that session. Y'all gonna get it now. They're gonna double team. I can do this one. We can do this one too. All right, watch this.
Vanguard 500 fund, in other words, the S&P 500, ticker symbol VOO.
I'm gonna give you stocks.
So these are 5 ETFs to watch.
This is gonna build your wealth. Pay attention, go ahead.
For the long term to build wealth, listen up and follow along for more. At number one, of course, how could we not? We have the Vanguard 500 Fund, in other words, the S&P 500, ticker symbol VOO, and this is up over 106% over the last 5 years. You can't go wrong with VOO. At number two, we have QQQ, the tech-heavy index, the NASDAQ 100. It's up over 130% over the past 5 years. At number three, we have the Vanguard Developed Markets Index Fund ETF, which excludes the United States. This is ticker symbol VEA, and it's up 55% over the past 5 years. At number four, we have the Vanguard High Yield ETF. I think the ticker is, VYM, and this is up 70% over the past 5 years. So if you want a dividend ETF, look no further than VYM. Another dividend ETF here at number five is the Vanguard Dividend Appreciation ETF, ticker symbol VIG, and this has about a 2% dividend yield. I forgot to mention VYM has around a 3% dividend yield, and this one here, VIG, focuses on companies growing their dividends year in, year out, and it's up 77% over the past 5 years. Not bad. So these are 5 ETFs to watch now to build wealth for the long term. What are your thoughts? Follow along for more. So these are 5 ETFs to watch.
How do you feel about this?
To
How do you feel about what he just said? Now, I know you didn't have a chance to get the ticker. However, we're going to the session where you actually be able to buy the stock. Are you listening? You'll be able to buy the stock. You'll be able to buy the stock right in the session. All right? Can I do that? You think we can do that? We start you off with your $50 or your $100. Remember, what you're doing is going into your account, so you're not losing the money. All right? You can pull the money out if you want to. It's your money, it's your account. You're not losing the money, but you got to come in here with, try to come in at least 100, because I want to fund at least 2 accounts. Are you with me? If you got 150, that's wonderful. But try to fund at least 2 accounts. Now, I'm going to share the stocks with you. I'm going to share how to get started. We're going to actually fund the money and see your money grow. So we're going to go to the next session, but I want more people in here in terms of growing the money in the session. How you guys feel about that? You feel good? You guys really don't talk, huh? All right, so you do talk. This is going to be important because if you can sit at home and have these kind of conversations, that's a good conversation, isn't it? When you have a conversation with one another about being able to do that, now that's the conversation I need. If I had a woman, I need to be able to talk to her about that. About that. Not what I wore when I went out the door. But that. I need to have that kind of conversation. I need to talk about that kind of money, that money growth right there. I need to see that happening. And then what I need, then she could buy me whatever as a gift, like trade my car in and give me a new one because you now can afford the note. How about that? For birthday. That's when you start doing these huge birthday gifts and all that kind of stuff. That's when Michelle buys Dr. McNeil a Rolls Royce, and he comes home, his Mercedes is gone because his wife had a new Rolls Royce put in the yard, and he comes out, oh my God, he can't believe it. And now she can't get him off of her for the rest of the night. That's the kind of family it is that you want to be able to do. Why y'all looking at me strange? You got to be able to have these kind of conversations. ETF stocks, is that it? That's the one I just saw. All right. Dr. Noko, what are your thoughts? Any other thoughts? All right. Veronica, what's your thoughts? The thought of being able to have an extra 10,000 a month? What's the goal, Veronica? How many of y'all would feel good if you had an extra 3,000 or 4,000 a month? Would you feel good if you had an extra 3,000 or 4,000 a month? All right. Yeah, an extra $3,000 or $4,000 a month, you feel good, right? If you started off and you saw $1,500 or $1,200 in your account and you got started, would you be excited? I sure darn was, especially if you got 3 or 4 of them. If you got 3 or 4 of those accounts, then you are excited. I think I have 4. I'm getting ready to open something else, but you're moving money around. You're making your money. I want to get to the point where if you guys gave away $5,000, it doesn't hurt you. Are you with me? If I stood in church and said, we're going to have $1 million day, and have that $1 million day, how many people I need to give $10,000? 100? What's that mean? What is 10,000 times 100? Who's got a quick phone? What is 10,000 times 100?
$1 million.
10,000 times 100 is $1 million, right? So if I had 100 people that gave $10,000, we raised $1 million in service. But listen to the order of God. The order of God to me is to get you to the point where you're able to give that 10,000 and not have a problem, and I've raised $1 million in service that one day. If we raised $500,000 in services, you gave $5,000, and we raised $500 in one setting. The will of God is that I build you so that you can give back to Him. Are you with me? Now, don't let me teach you and you run down the street and join another church because you always want to join. The point of it is that I'm trying to get you to the point where you can get your daughter. It's okay if you don't. We can save it for Dr. McNair's session. What she was going to show you were 5 ETFs. You have the S&P 500, and then you have ETFs. There are various stocks that you can invest in, and I'm telling you, you end up getting the couple $1,000s a month off your stocks. It's not something that I think, it's something I know because it's something that I'm able to do. My problem is with me is that when Amos comes over, I got to pull money out sometimes to pay another bill somewhere else. And then, I got to start all over again. So that bothers me when you start doing things like that. But those are the things that you are able to do. So when you have emergencies, you know where you can pull money out. So there's 2 places. There's those accounts, and then I do the stock thing on Cash App because I can immediately liquidate and then start back up. So you can pull $1,000 off or $2,000 off or whatever that, like right then and there, and then you can move money around. So I do a few things right now. And now don't be asking me for no money because I'm not giving you none. I don't have anything to give you. Everything is tied up. But what I'm asking you to do is to open your mind so that you can start prospering. That's it? Okay, go ahead. Here we go.
Of your life. I'm Steve, a millionaire former public school teacher now teaching finances. The first is an ETF that tracks the S&P 500. This allows you to invest in the top 500 companies in the United States like Nvidia, Costco, Walmart, and Microsoft. Examples of these ETFs include SPY, IVV, VOO, SPLG, or whatever you're comfortable with. Second is an ETF that tracks tech and growth like the NASDAQ 100. Some examples include QQQ and QQQM. Third is an ETF that tracks the Dow Jones 30. Companies in this index includes Home Depot, Coca-Cola, and Visa. And my favorite ETF that tracks this is SCHD. The fourth is a Total World Stock ETF. This allows you to be globally diversified, and a popular ETF is VT. If you want my free money cheat sheet with all my resources and lists, tag a friend in the comments and I'll send it to you.
All right. Now, I'm going to show you the stocks. I'm going to show you how to reach $1 million. $1 million. Because when you retire, what do you need? You need more than $1 million. Are you listening to me? I'm going to teach you what you need. But you're not only going to do stocks, you're going to do what I say. Real estate, stock portfolio, real estate portfolio, stock portfolio. You got your savings, you've got your Social Security, you got your retirement check. What else? Right? You're also going to understand how to buy gold, silver, and a couple other things so that you never are without. Are you with me? You're never without. Now, I need my staff to have a lot of money because I need to ask Shantae for some of hers when I can't find mine. So my staff is going to be funded, and those $50 and $100 things are going to go into the accounts because I want them to walk around with it, because I also want them to be the teacher, because I may not make it. And you got Shantae, she'll just, be the whiz of clicking a button and showing you at the same time she's testifying to the fact that she owns those. All right, same thing with Michelle. She's got to be able to say, women of God, this is what you need to do. And then, you always have that kind of money moving around. Of course, her husband's the banker, so he's going to go a little deeper. Dr. McNair, you have any thoughts? Bishop's wife, Michelle, you have any thoughts?
It's about the stocks. You know how you hear when folks say, oh, the stock market crashed.
Mm-hmm.
Is this different from what they're saying?
So there's stocks that you hold on to even when it goes down. Hold on to those, because when they come up, they come all the way up. Mm-hmm. So there's some stocks you never sell. You hold on to the stock. Don't let those things fool you. And then when the stock is down, when the stock market is down, there's certain stocks you need to buy because if it was up, you couldn't afford it. So we're going to talk about all of that.
So do you rate, let's say your money's growing, do you have a max, like, okay, if it gets to 5,000, oh no, I'm going to pull out 3, put that in another account.
So this is real life, and Dr. McNair can tell you this. I like $25,000 in places. If I spent money on that money need to go back. And then there are accounts that had to have 10,000 in it, and then there's some that had to have 5,000 in it. If it fell below that, I was a beast, because I was like, oh no, I need that money, because I didn't feel comfortable. Right? I'm pastoring the church. I don't feel comfortable. Church always got an issue. The people always have lack of money, and I just needed to do it. So I took, one time $25,000, and I just bought 2 houses at one time. And my idea was to give my sons houses and then move on, and then we're gonna repeat the situation. But again, life happens, and everything doesn't go the way you want it to go. But here we are in 2025. The Lord has blessed us to go to the next level. So now, back then, I never had a problem signing my name on $1 million nothing, because I felt like that's the will of God to be able to do it. So I couldn't be standing there preaching, and I know I just signed $1 million contract. So there is a multimillionaire speaking to you. Well, you didn't see it. You never understood it, right? And if you got $1 million worth of debt, which I do, I got over $1 million worth of debt. You got to first have $1 million, have $1 million worth of debt. But you can't be with a woman that realizes you got $1 million worth of debt, and she goes, oh my God, and all this. I can't handle that energy, because I just showed you that you make money off of debt. I can't handle weakness. I cannot handle insecurity. I cannot handle negativity. Cannot handle negativity. I'd rather not be acquainted with it. It takes my energy and my creativity away. As you can see, Michelle, if I really go into what God wants me to do, I know how to build people. I know how to build a company. I know how to emerge a company from something like the salon. Okay, change what you do. If you don't like what's going on, then change what you do. But here's what I believe God does too. He allows you to go through some things so you can get rid of the wrong people. You understand me? Some things you gotta go through because it's the wrong time for you to make money with the wrong people.
Absolutely.
And then sometimes you got the first year, if you can make it through the first year, you're good. That first year is a killer. They normally say the first 3 years, but that first year, believe me, in no business, that first year will eat your behind up. It is not for the weary. It's not for the weak. You've got to be strong. So, but then the next year you start seeing yourself making the money, just as I said before. Shantae would feed me the information based on what patients and clients tell her. We made the decision, I need to take the office down the street. I need to use this place for groups, and I need the salon working. Are you with me? And then I have to have days where I'm not in the city at all because I'm working somewhere else. But I have days that I'm working in the church. There's days that I'm working down the street. And then days that I'm working in the salon. When I'm not working in the salon, Whitney is leasing it out to somebody else, or we hire other people to just work in it so that we make money. Either way, you're gonna be able to make money. I suggest that we hire somebody else to work in it, because I can't depend on people saying I'm rent, they don't rent. But if I got somebody else working in it, I don't have a problem. Now, how does that work? If we do hair replacement, especially men, hair units, things like that, it's become very popular. Somebody specializes in doing it. And then you got women with all the hair replacement stuff that women want to do, and you got all kinds of things going on. You're making money consistently because one person came in and paid you $800. Are you listening to what I'm saying? All right, so you can move things on. So you got to have a vision. You can't be scared, and don't have people around you complaining. Remember when Elisha and Elijah and in the school of the prophets kept saying, when you gonna get it? When you gonna get it? Don't have a woman or a man talking about when you gonna make some money, when you gonna get things off the ground, when things gonna happen. If you got a woman or a man following y'all, quit them. Leave them now. Don't ask me when it's gonna happen. You're gonna either take the ride or get out. Get out of the car or take the ride. But to complain, never. You cannot deal with people with negative energy. You gotta work. You can cut the line off of it. Now, if you're there, get ready for the super class. In super class, we're gonna actually walk you through how to sign up for the stock, what stocks you need to pick. We're gonna show you what stocks to pick. We're gonna show you how to use the platforms. We're gonna also begin to meet bi-weekly to increase your income, to make sure you're making the money, increasing the income. The goal is to have 100 people that has made the money so that we can, because when you make money, to give money away, you can make more money. They're gonna pledge that 10, we're gonna raise that million, and then we're gonna move on. So people are gonna pledge the 10,000. We're gonna have $1 million pledge. We're gonna be faithful because God's gonna give us the money, and we're gonna move on. And then we're gonna move from 1 million to 5 million in terms of being able to raise money until the Lord gives us the opportunity to do business in such, which He is going to. I can't get that plan out, where all debt is paid off. All the ministry debt is paid off. All your personal debt is paid off. Things are in. 7830 Central Avenue. See you on Sunday at 10 a.m. You're going to be blessed of God. Talk to you soon.